I don't know what to say, really.
Your seventh pick gives you what? A running back with a rap sheet?
You don't know who I'm picking, Seven, Tom. I'm not going to sell the farm for one guy.
Well, you should. Your farm sucks.
I know football. What you did with those boys. You were the right man for the job, Coach.
You're Hall of Fame in my book.
Now, let's analyze what's been working for us. Not a goddamn thing's been working for us. Like this goddamn suit doesn't work for me. And this stinking tie, and this goddamn shirt, it doesn't work for me.
Fucking Roethlisberger, the quarterback, was all fucking hug it, chug it, football. All night.
I'll tell you why you don't have your $10 million yet. Right now, you are a paycheck player. You play with your head, not your heart. In your personal life, heart. But when you get on the field, it's all about what you didn't get, who's to blame, who underthrew the pass, who's got the contract you don't, who's not giving you your love. You know what? That is not what inspires people.
This is your opportunity
for
here.
You. Playing football at West Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime, but I don't want your life.
I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that itch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that itch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
I have the golden ticket, Sonny. If I give it to you, you get to say football in Cleveland.
I'll see you in L.A.
No heart. No heart? I'm all heart, motherfucker! Utah, give me 2.
What's up, everybody? Mike Virginia here with the Palazzo Podcast. Michael Govier will be joining us here in a second. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. We are here live, taking your start sit questions for week 10. Make sure you guys drop in the live chat, give us a like and follow. Michael Govier, there he is. What's up, buddy?
Hey, here I am, boy. All by the skin of my teeth there on a Sunday morning. Apparently, Jonathan Taylor just scored, and the Colts have taken it to the Pats early on here. Isn't that exciting?
Very exciting.
That's putting it mildly.
You Jonathan Taylor truthers who hate Zach Moss, looks like that's coming into fruition now. Zach Moss continues to decline. Jonathan Taylor continues to go up. I think it's Jonathan Taylor's season.
There's no doubt about it.
Michael Govier, before we get started, I want to mention a couple things here if I could.
Please.
If you guys joined us on Tuesday's show, you know that I'm doing a giveaway for a football jersey of your choice if you are selected to win. But here's what needs to happen first, right? Bijan Robinson and Aaron Jones. I think I've made it very clear that I hate both of their head coaches. Both of them need to score anytime touchdowns today. Doesn't matter. And if you like my pinned tweet on my Twitter profile at Mike Virginia, and you repost it, and you follow myself, Michael Govier, and the Palazzo Podcast, you are automatically entered to win. So make sure you guys go check out my Twitter profile, my pinned tweet. You'll see it on there, how to enter. But I'm giving away a NFL jersey of your choosing if you are selected to win. And we'll give it away live next Tuesday if that happens on the show.
Woo! Hell yeah! Dude, that's going to be awesome. Make sure you guys take advantage of that. Everybody loves free stuff. I'd like to have a good time, right? And Mike Virginia's here. I'm Michael Govier, MJ Govier on Twitter. _ Mike VA, and of course, Palazzo Podcast.
Utah.
2 L's, 2 Z's.
Give me 2.
Follow all 3. Get locked in. Make sure you're ready to go here because it's week 10 in the NFL. We only got so many weeks left. It's slowly slipping away. But let's not dwell in the future. Right now, it's week 10. What is on your mind right now, Mike, as we sit here on a Sunday morning at 10:07 a.m. Eastern Time live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter? What are you thinking?
Well, it's worth noting for those of you guys who have TJ Hawkinson, I don't know if you saw the news from Ed Werder, but he could possibly be limited today and only play on big downs or like vital plays. So maybe third down situations, red zone situations. Who knows if that's true or not? But, Ed Werder seems like a pretty reputable guy. Michael Govier, if you have TJ Hawkinson, are you still starting him or would you be looking to pivot and start somebody else over him?
Boy. Tight end, the same old story. A guy like Hawkinson stands above the rest outside of Kelsey and Andrews and sometimes George Kittle, right, who doesn't always show up.
That's putting it mildly.
But I think you got to start Hawkinson if he's going to be active and they're taking on the Saints. This is a really crucial game for them. So really, because they're both 5-4, right? Both teams are 5-4, the Saints and the Vikings. They're in the thick of a playoff race. The Saints could still win that division, and they'd be in the playoffs with a home game. The Vikings are not going to win their division because my Bozo Lions are way ahead of them, at least for now. So I think Hawkinson's going to be in there. You got to start him if he's active. You do.
You like him over Trey McBride today against the doo-doo secondary of the Atlanta Falcons?
Oh, boy. I really like the Cardinals today. I do. I might be a little early. I know this isn't a video game. This is real life. Kyler Murray just showing up again is going to step on the field and dominate. No, but I do think he's going to play well, and Atlanta's defense is very leaky. There's a lot of leaks in that son of a gun. So, Trey McBride? Yeah. I guess I could play McBride, but I wouldn't play McBride over Hawkinson.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you guys for the people who are in the live chat right now. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. You know the deal. If you have your start-sit questions, make sure you drop them in the live chat. That's what Michael and I are here for. Right, Mikey?
I bet you would, Panama Red.
That's right. I also did some killer stuff. I did a lot of work on the Patreon this week, so I promised I was in Arizona last week. I didn't do much because I was on the road. But now that I'm back, I really came hard. I even got my NFL primer out last night, which has tons of stuff. Tons of stuff. It's just loaded with, high-scoring teams, high-scoring games, top 10 players of choice at every skill position this week. What else is in there? I've given my list of best long shot first touchdown scorers, the top 3 for each game. So it's just got a ton of stuff in there. For $3, you get access to that, and it could really set you up nicely, not just for DFS, but for season long and betting and everything that has to do with NFL Week 10. Pretty cool.
Make sure you guys check that out. Only $3.
Palazzo Podcast Patreon, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
It's patreon.com/Palazzo Podcast. I believe that is what it's called.
Unfortunately, this shithole has more fucking leaks than the Iraqi Navy.
Well, I don't know much about the Iraqi Navy, but yeah. All right, what's Sean Thomas is here? What's going on?
What's up, Sean? Sean says, hey guys, half-point PPR, Tank Dell or Deontay Johnson. Also, Kirk, Ridley, James Cook, Montgomery, pick one. Thanks, guys. Michael, shoot it over to you first. Let's start with the first half of this question. Are you taking Tank or are you taking Deontay Johnson today?
Okay, so this Bengals-Texans game is going to be interesting because the Bengals are going to be without some serious skill players today, right? I mean,
yep.
I mean, T. Higgins. No T. Higgins.
Yep.
Jamar Chase, is he still up in the air? I mean, I think he'll play.
50-50. They actually brought up 2 receivers from the practice squad. So that's kind of indicative that he might not go. He did say he was going to test it out during pregame warmups, though. So we'll see.
I think Joe Mixon is the guy that makes it happen on offense today for the Bengals, which will open up the passing game for other guys for Joe Burrow. But I think this game's going to be a lot lower scoring than I initially thought it was earlier in the week because I thought Texans-Bengals might be more of a shootout. And the last I saw the implied total was 45.5. I'm taking the under on that now, even though I was on the over earlier in the week. So, having said that, Nico Collins will be out for the Texans on their side, so Tank Dell will be more involved, right? Yep. He should be getting a lot of targets from Mr. Stroud. My concern here is that I really like Lou Anarumo, the DC for the Bengals. This guy knows how to game plan, all right? He never has the most talent on the Cincinnati defense, but he's game planned the best in the game. He's beaten Mahomes multiple times. So now CJ Stroud, a rookie who's on fire, he's got to slow down a bit, and I think he's going to slow down today. But I do think Tank Dell over Deontay isn't a terrible call, though I do like Deontay a bit more because the Steelers are taking on the Packers, and the Packers are coming to town, and the Packers are just not as fearful of defense as we thought earlier in the year. So I guess I'll go Tank Dell by a hair over Deontay, but it's really a toss-up in half-point PPR.
Yeah, it's really tough for me too. Like Michael mentioned, you're not going to have Nico Collins in this game, so I think Tank Dell should be peppered with targets. Deontay Johnson's getting plenty of targets there in Pittsburgh as well. Me personally, I'm going to give a slight edge to Deontay just because I'm going to take the home matchup there. I think they'll find ways to get Deontay the ball. I think he's a solid wide receiver too. maybe a low end wide receiver 1 in this game. So I think you roll with Deontay here. I think the Texans, I'm actually going to take the over here on the Texans Bengals game. I still think that there's going to be plenty of scoring in this game. Trent Irwin is a guy that everyone should be looking to pick up just for today. If there is a pinch that you need a wide receiver in, it's worth noting he got 10 targets last game. So he could be a guy.
Andre Isavias. That's the guy. I'm going Isavias over Irwin. I just want to get
that in.
We'll find out who's right. Andre Isavias is a guy who scored. I think he scored 2 straight weeks before he didn't score last week. He didn't get much targets outside of that. But now if he gets more reps, I do think there's some chemistry there with Burrow. But you're right. Irwin had 10 targets. That's a big deal. That matters.
Yep. Yeah, so it's tank for Michael and Deontay for me, but it's close, Sean. I don't think you can go wrong either way. It's a good problem to have. His second part of his question here, Michael, is Kirk, Ridley, James Cook, or David Montgomery, and he actually meant to say pick 2 of those guys. He says later in the
Utah.
So.
Give me 2.
That's right. We prefer 2 on this show. We always prefer picking 2 against 1 because, of course, we're the Palazzo Podcast.
Utah.
These.
Give me 2.
What do you think? Go ahead.
1 for me is definitely David Montgomery. I'm going to say it again. I've been saying it since last week. This is your last chance to sell high on Jahmyr Gibbs. I do think he gets a little bit more workload, but he's obviously not going to get the workload that people are expecting. I know his 2 games were good. Came against garbage time against my Ravens, and then it also came against a shitty Raiders defense as well. Michael, you know the Lions better than anybody. What are you thinking here with the Lions backfield here? How do you think it divvies up between Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs?
I'm mildly concerned. I think Gibbs had a breakout, and now the team realizes that both these guys are good. And if the Lions are actually thinking playoff run, they want to save Montgomery, so they're going to want to use Gibbs a little bit more. I do think that's interesting, but Montgomery's a workhorse back, but he's also shown himself to be kind of fragile at times. So maybe they see that now and realize that. And now that Gibbs has gained the trust going into the bye week with that great game against the Raiders, that might change things. I was with you, but I think that changed things a little bit.
We'll see. Back to your question here, Sean. I'm going Montgomery, and give me James Cook here as well. I know a lot of people aren't fans of his, especially in half-point PPR. I think he has the receiving yards and catches out of the backfield there for the Bills. It's worth noting too that there is somewhat bad weather in Jacksonville between Kirk and Ridley. There are 10-mile-per-hour winds and some mist. I'm not saying that that's a huge deal, but yeah, they are going against the 49ers. The 49ers are going to play piss today. They get Chase Young in there. It is in Jacksonville. I just think out of the bye week, it's going to be a low-scoring affair. Give me James Cook and Dave Montgomery here.
I see no changes.
I'm going to go with I really like James Cook because Denver can get ripped on the run, though they have tightened things up a little bit recently. But as I was doing my football primer on the Palazzo Podcast Patreon, it just became clear to me again and again that James Cook should be one of the top 7 backs this week if he gets the opportunities. Now, Leonard Fournette might be finally ready to go too, I think. So that'll be interesting. Yep. I'm not worried about that as much, like I've said before. So if you ask me between Kirk, Ridley, James Cook, and Montgomery, flip a coin on Kirk, Ridley. If I had to go one or the other, I'll go Kirk. And then I'll take James Cook because I trust that there's opportunities for him to really rev it up on a Monday night against the Broncos in Buffalo. I know Buffalo's had their challenges. They've had a tough schedule. They played some legitimate teams lately, too. It hasn't been easy. So that's how I see it. I would consider maybe going Cook and Montgomery straight out, too, if the weather freaks you out enough, if it gets worse in Jacksonville before kickoff. But I think one of those guys, the back end of the 49ers defense can be had. So Kirk and Ridley are options that you want to be in play with. 49ers stop the run, but they don't always stop the pass.
There you go. Lock it in. Thanks for joining, Sean. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the question. Our main man, Charles, is in the live chat. What's up, Charles? He says, good morning, guys. Full PPR. I need to start one. Gus Edwards, Jerome Ford, or Alexander Madison. So it's worth noting that Gus Edwards and Jerome Ford play each other today. Alexander Madison goes up against the Saints. Again, we already mentioned TJ Hawkins is going to be limited today. Maybe Alexander Madison sees more passing work out of the backfield. Which one of these guys are you going with here, Michael?
Dude, Gus Edwards, it has to slow down at some point, doesn't it? I mean,
it would have
5 touchdowns, especially against Cleveland. This should be a tougher matchup. This is a tougher defense to go ahead. And Gus, this is the classic type of defense where Gus Edwards should struggle because he's not quick. He's a straight ahead runner, and Cleveland gets in your face and plugs holes. So I don't see this being a Gus Edwards week. I think it has to slow down. I see it that way. But at the same time, Jerome Ford on the other side against a Ravens defense that I think is getting a little too much credit just because they have such a low – they've blown out teams massively, like the Lions and the Seahawks. They blew them away. Only gave up 6 points each in those games. They're 37-3 and 38-6. Very low scoring in those two games. So I think it's kind of made their defense look better than it is. I just don't think the Ravens defense is as good as it's been touted. But then again, I can't trust Deshaun Watson to lead a competent offense most of the time. I still can't do that. But I do like Jerome Ford a little bit today. So I think I might go Ford. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Madison here. I think the Ravens and Browns game is going to be a tight one. I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I think it's going to be a defensive game. And they actually might use Kareem Hunt out of the backfield, too, in terms of passing instead of Jerome Ford. But I like Alexander Madison. Just give me the volume. They're at home. He has some passing work out of the backfield here. So it's worth noting, too, that none of these matchups are great. The Saints are actually pretty good against the run as well. So I like Alexander Madison here today, and I like him over Gus Edwards and Jerome Ford. So, Charles, I know that doesn't help you, man, but in full PPR, too, that's also worth noting. He's going to be catching balls out of the backfield. I don't know if Ford or Gus Edwards can do that for you. So, just off full point PPR, Alexander Madison's got to be the guy for me.
Locked in, sir. Alexander Madison's taking on the Saints defense. Saints defense pretty good against the run. Again, you beat the Saints by throwing on them, and you also beat the Vikings by throwing on them. So I do think the key to that Saints-Viking game is both quarterbacks playing at a high end and getting the ball to their playmakers in space. And, Taysom Hill has made life difficult for Alvin Kamara lately. He's been really sucking up the opportunities and the touches in the red zone and inside the 10. And that has killed Kamara's value, who looked really hot for a minute there, but he's gone cold because he's not been able to get those opportunities that Taysom Hill has taken from him.
Yeah, Taysom Hill is a must start for me. I know a lot of people don't like that because it's simply because he's so boom or bust. There really is no in between with Taysom Hill. Either you're going to get a good game or a bad game. Guy's been on fire. I don't know how you can sit him. He's a top 10 tight end play for me today, maybe even a top 8. Just as simply off the fact if they're in the red zone, he's getting the ball. So I like him to score today. Again, and against that Vikings defense, even though they have been pretty good against the run too, I think he beat the Vikings in the secondary, not necessarily at running the football, but should be plenty of work for both Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara today. But I like Taysom Hill to score, especially in your tight end pinch. I got a question today, Hawkinson or Taysom Hill. I'm going Taysom Hill over Hawkinson today, just based off of the rib injury scaring me a little bit. So
that's fair. Yeah, I know that injuries freak us out, but there's a lot of times, guys, they look like they're hurt, then they play and they can do things. I mean, remember what Dalvin Cook did a couple years ago? He was like not going to start. I think it was a Thursday night and
he crushed
it was he ran for like 200 yards the first half against the Steelers at home, even though he had this terrible shoulder. So I know that doesn't always happen. That's not the typical play, but it does happen. Football's a weird game. It's a violent game. You got tons of drugs in the locker room that you can shoot people up with and shove down their throats. Even suppositories, shove up their ass. Doesn't matter how you take it in as long as it numbs you up, right?
That's putting it mildly.
Mikey Virginia has this question for Michael Govier to start.
Oh, great.
Here.
Love it.
I have a quarterback dilemma. I have either Dak Prescott today at home versus the Giants or Jared Goff of your Bozo Lions at the LA Chargers. Who are you going with there?
Prescott or Goff?
Mm-hmm.
Man, the Giants, it looks very, very easy. I'm kind of getting the feeling that maybe Tony Pollard finally gets it going this week, although we've heard that many, many weeks. So maybe that's just fool's gold. Fooled you. But Goff's going to have a good game. I put Goff in my rankings for quarterbacks this week. That's funny. It's a little inside info for you folks. A little freebie from the Palazzo Podcast Patreon. My Week 10 NFL primer, betting, fantasy, everything, all in one Google sheet. I have Dak Prescott second and Jared Goff third on my top quarterback list this week. It's funny that you're asking about both those guys. They're right next to each other, 2 and 3, though. So, I mean, I don't think you really go that wrong here. Though Goff coming off the bye week, Chargers defense, it's not that good. Don't be fooled by what happened with the Jets. That's the Jets. So
yeah. I'm leading right now. I'm leading Prescott right now, but Goff is making me think twice about it. So
I don't think you go wrong either way.
Yeah. It's worth noting I'm in a 5-game losing streak. If my brother's watching, I'm playing him today. So 5-week losing streak. I need to get back on track. So I'm hoping today's the day.
Wow, that's embarrassing.
Wow, dude.
But it's truth. And that's what you get here on the Palazzo Podcast. We don't screw around. We tell it like it is. We're live here. This live chat's wide open for you, but nobody's here. You guys don't like us today? What is it? Is everybody sick of football? Is it hockey season now and everyone's moved on for football? That must be what it is. So.
Basketball, too, as well. Michael,
yeah, that's true.
What are some of your start sit questions that you got, dilemmas that you're working through on your teams?
Oh, boy. Well, let's take a look. So I've been really concerned about what to do with Kenneth Walker today. He's off the injury report. They say he's healthy, but he hasn't looked the part the last few weeks since that calf first came up 3 weeks ago. So I'm kind of torn what to do. Should I start Kenneth Walker or... Okay, this is dumb. That's Kenneth Walker versus A.J. Dillon. I know how you feel about that one. That's not enough for debate for you, but what if it was, I don't know. What if it was James Conner? Conner versus Walker.
Ooh, that's a tough one. James Conner is active today. For those of you guys who don't know, he'll be playing. Who knows if he'll be on a pitch count today? Maybe his first game back. But it's worth noting that when he does play, he is a volume-based running back. They don't really give it to anybody else. I think they'll probably be careful with him in his first game back in a very winnable game against the Falcons. So, man, that's tough because, like you said, they say Kenneth Walker is healthy. I don't know if he is or not because Zach Charbonnet has continued to eat into his workload. The Seahawks have been getting blown out. The Commanders aren't very good defensively either. So I think for right now, I still roll Kenneth Walker over James Conner, and I still kind of I don't feel good about it, but I'd like to see how James Conner is used before I'm ready to roll him out there.
Wow.
I see no changes.
Yeah, I don't see any changes here either. I think I'm out on Walker until I see that he's ready to rock again, really. And I actually think the Seattle passing offense should thrive today. I mean, Geno Smith has not played well all year, and Washington's passing defense is trash. It's very trashy. And they like to throw it a lot on the Washington side of the football on offense. So it leads to a lot of high volume opportunities for the passing game, especially if these are shootouts. And the Washington football team has been in many shootouts this year. So I'm really hoping the Seattle passing offense is going today. I also benched Walker. I started Donta Foreman over him, and Donta was solid on Thursday.
Very solid.
He had 80 yards and a rushing touchdown. I was certain that Donta Foreman would score Thursday night, and he did, so I felt good about that. And, of course, my other running back on this team is Jonathan Taylor, who's already got 33 yards and a touchdown as they're in the second quarter in Germany. 7-3 Colts. It's a doozy. Hope you guys aren't missing that fun fest over there in Germany. You talk about good times. Football in Germany. That is where it's at.
Blurpy, what's up, Blurpy? Thanks for joining the live chat here, man. Appreciate you asking.
Hey, doozy. What's up, doozy?
Make sure you like and subscribe here. We have a question. He has a couple questions here. He wants to know Kyler or Trevor Lawrence, Jake Ferguson or McBride, or do I drop Singletary for Keaton Mitchell? Don't really need Singletary this week, and he sucks. That is correct.
That's putting it mildly.
You're right about that,
first question here. The first third of the question here. Who are you taking today, Michael? Kyler Murray taking on the Falcons, or do you trust Trevor Lawrence coming out of the bye versus the 49ers at home?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's a real tough one. I actually did not put T-Law in my top 10 today, quarterback-wise, but I probably should have. Now that I'm seeing that, I think that might be a mistake because 49ers. Well, you know what happened is I kind of came to the conclusion that the 49ers and the Jags game wouldn't be as high scoring as I thought it might be initially. I thought the defenses might lock in more. I mean, we had a defensive game between the Jags and the Chiefs, and I know the Chiefs have changed their stripes this year with more defense, but back in week 2 or whatever it was, a 17-9 game, very low scoring in Jacksonville, and I kind of see that game going this route again. Although the 49ers are coming off the bye, and I just don't see, even though the 49ers are coming off the bye and they picked up Chase Young, I don't see them coming out here and just rolling the Jags in their building. I really don't. So I've got Kyler on my list. I think he's going to make some moves today and play well, and he's got a lot of talented guys to get the ball to. I like Kyler, I think. It's a little radical, but I'm going Kyler.
Blurpy, I actually have the same dilemma in one of my leagues as well. Both my quarterbacks are Kyler and Trevor Lawrence, and I, too, am rolling with Kyler Murray in this league.
Woo!
Yeah, I feel a little frisky today. From a betting standpoint, Michael, in the 49ers and the Jaguars game, the 49ers are 3-point favorites going into Jacksonville.
Road favorites.
Who do you like? Who do you like that? What side do you like in that? Are you taking the points and taking Jacksonville? Or are you taking the 49ers?
I might be a sucker here, but I'm totally on the Jacksonville train.
Same.
They're a home dog to a team that hasn't played that well this year. I mean, Brock Purdy's not a institution in this country, you know? And Shanahan Shanahan's a great quarterback mind. He's an excellent offensive mind. But you look at his career record. I mean, Shanahan's career record is very average. It is. I know that they have really good teams in San Francisco year after year, it seems, but he's not that great.
Yeah. Everybody's scared of the 49ers. I'm taking the points here in the Jaguars as home dogs. Again, coming off the bye, playing in Jacksonville. San Francisco's traveling across the country here. I know they probably had plenty of time to get out in Florida, but it's different. I don't care what anybody says. Give me the Jaguars and the 3 points. Lock that in for me. That's my lock of the week this week.
Whoa!
Right? My lock of the week. Jaguars cover the spread. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm saying they're covering the 3 points. Michael, Ferguson at home versus the Giants, or do you like McBride today? Pairing him maybe with Kyler here, Blurpy. Do you like McBride going up against Falcons?
Well, the Falcons, they give up a lot of catches. In fact, I'm checking the books here. I think they've given up the most receptions to tight ends in the league this year. Tied with the Miami Dolphins. 55 catches for tight ends. That's a lot. Now, they don't give up the touchdowns as much, but if you're in a reception-based situation in your league, seems like playing Trey McBride would be a great idea. But we also have to see how he works with Kyler. You know, Kyler likes to get out and run around and extend plays, and then he loves to toss it 80 yards down the field to Hollywood or to Rondale Moore. So I want to see how McBride mixes into this offense today. Jake Ferguson has really established himself as a key component of Dak Prescott's offense in Dallas. So I think I'm going to go Ferguson today. I think I am.
Me too. 2 for 2 so far. Lock that in. Palazzo Podcast 2L2Z.
Utah. Give me 2.
Yeah, I feel good about that. I like Ferguson. I like where he's at.
Yeah, agreed. And again, it's worth noting too that Dak loves him in the red zone. He's been targeting him in the red zone. I think Ferguson has a chance to score today. I'm with Michael. I said it on Tuesday's show as well. Even though I like Kyler today, again, in terms of his receiving options, I'd like to see how that plays out. It's a great matchup for the Arizona Cardinals today. I hope they blow the doors off Arthur Smith's Bozo Falcons. You mentioned Rondale Moore. I want to throw a little tidbit in here. Get ahead of everybody. Rondale Moore, if he's floating around in your waiver wire, could be a solid add in deeper leagues. I think he's the clear wide receiver 2 in this offense, especially with Kyler back. Rondale Moore he's a Swiss Army knife, and I think they're going to use him a lot to help Kyler out moving forward, especially later on in the season. Give me Rondale Moore as a solid flex play moving forward if you need somebody and you have a free bench spot to kind of work with. But moving on to the third part of the question.
I put in Rondale over George Pickens, by the way, today.
Ooh, lock that in. That's a tasty one.
That's bold. A1, bold and spicy. Gets you here. Gets you right here.
Last part of his question here, Michael. Are you dropping Devin Singletary for Keaton Mitchell?
Keaton Mitchell. So I was so excited when I saw that Keaton Mitchell came up on the injury report after we did our show here on Tuesday. We do the show every Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday nights right here. Make sure you check in on that and get your waiver wire needs, everything else, trade offers, blah, blah, blah. And then a couple days after that, Keaton Mitchell showed up on the injury report with that hamstring again, which is the reason I dropped him a couple weeks ago, because that hammy was always going to get in the way. So I don't like Singletary, though. I know you've liked Singletary recently, and other people have been pushing him up, and it's an opportunity to take on the Bengals today. I don't know, man. It's kind of yuck all the way around.
Yeah, I will note that I did like Singletary a couple weeks back when he was going up against the Panthers. I didn't like him last week. I really don't like him again today either. I think the offensive line's got some real struggles. Singletary is very blah for me, and I think I mentioned this too a couple weeks back. He's not a league-winning upside kind of guy. I think he's just very meh. So in terms of just upside play here, give me Keaton Mitchell, but I do want to. Oh, he says I can't play Singletary anyways, by the way. Okay.
Okay.
Keaton Mitchell for me is still third in this pecking order. I know a lot of people were so quick to rush to the waiver wire to go grab him. I'm with Michael, though. His injury concerns are something that's not going away. And I do think he's still third in this pecking order behind Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. I'm sorry. I just think that's the case. And the Ravens like to utilize multiple backs. So it's not like you're going to get a 20 carry a week kind of guy. I do like his explosiveness. I do like his upside, but again, at the same time, too, I still think he's third in the pecking order in the injury concerns. I think he's worth the flyer though over Singletary. So I would make that move for sure.
Yeah, he's worth the flyer, but that hammy and a guy who runs like that, it's going to be a problem. It's going to keep popping up. You're going to chase the game he had last week in that blowout over the Seahawks for 9 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown. Just be wary of that. Be wary.
Yep,
be wary.
I'm with you.
Is it weary or wary?
Weary. That's what I'm going with, at least.
By the way, Kyle Shanahan's career record as a coach, 57 wins, 49 losses. So he's above 500, but, I mean, he's not, like, totally dominant. I'm just saying.
Yeah. We'll revisit that on Tuesday's show here. The Jaguars covered the 3 points against the 49ers today. Lock that in. We'll revisit it. I called the Titans beating the Falcons when Will Levis was apparently starting. I'm calling it today. Jacksonville gets the win and covers the 3 points. I'm going with that. So, BTC, what's up, buddy? He says, go blue, Michigan versus everyone.
Yay!
Michael's Michigan Wolverines.
We did it.
Took down the Nittany Lions yesterday.
I panicked before the kickoff, by the way, on the Michigan minus 4.5. I'm like, oh, man, this could be a field goal game. I'm out. But I stayed true on the under. I never bailed on the under, and that came in. So, yay, thank you, Sharon Moore, for keeping the under.
Penn State, I feel like, does this every single year, right? They creep up like in the top 10. Everyone's hyping them up. Doesn't matter if they're playing at home or they're away. Are they a college football playoff team? They just can't win the big one. And they didn't beat Michigan yesterday. So I thought the first half of the Georgia and Ole Miss game was pretty exciting. And then that one turned into a blowout, and Kirby Smart got his guys' heads out of their asses, and they played well. So
yeah, Ole Miss is always a fraud.
Yeah. Your boy Davey P is in the live chat.
Hey, morning, Dave.
He wants to know, if Chase sits, my only bench option is Michael Wilson from Arizona, or do I go find some failure like Juju in free agent? Well, Juju's playing right now, Dave, so you can't start him today. He's actually playing over in Germany, so you'd have to.
Wouldn't have been a bad play, actually, in my opinion, by the way.
Yeah. I don't even know how he's doing today right now, but
probably doing nothing.
I think Michael Wilson was listed as questionable, if I'm not mistaken, going into today.
Yeah, Greg Dortch. Maybe pick up Greg Dortch. He might get some more playing time today if he's available, or even better, somehow Rondale Moore's available. We already said that.
You already mentioned that, Dave. So if Rondale Moore is available, I would actually lean him over Michael Wilson if Chase does not go. So
I love it.
But yeah, we'll see. I really do think they're going to be careful with Chase here. I know a lot of people expect him to play. I think if he does play, he's going to be limited at best. So Dave says Mike has Rondale. Rondale Moore was just picked up by Michael Govier live on the Palazzo podcast. No, I'm kidding.
Possible.
There you go. Dave, let us know who else is on your free agent list, man. We're happy to help you out. But it's also worth. I would also like to know who you're dropping to pick up one of these guys too, because that also comes into play.
What are the changes? I mean, you're trying to make changes here in your lineup. You're trying to make something happen. You got 2.5 hours for kickoff. Don't panic, Dave, because sometimes changes are mistakes. Sometimes things need to stay the way they are.
That's the way it is.
See, that's the way it is. Juju, I bet Juju's doing something. I thought I was going to start Juju in a few leagues and recommending him as a fun play just because somebody had to catch balls for that Patriots offense, and Indianapolis's defense is not as good as it looked last week against Carolina. For the record.
You ready for this? You ready for this stat line?
I'm ready.
0 catches, 0 yards for Juju Smith-Schuster. There's 3 minutes and 34 seconds left in the second quarter. Mac Jones has been sacked already 4 times already. So
what a shocker. Bunch of trash. Okay, so looking at my I can't believe this, but I really love Bijan today, and you know how I felt about him all year. Hell, Dave was on the show asking about trading him. I was talking him into trading Bijan possibly in our keeper league on Tuesday, but today he's at the top of my list for top running backs to play. I got Bijan. I had Ramondre second. I thought he could still do well against that Colts defense. That game's already in action. I love Breece Hall today against that Raiders defense. The Raiders can be had on the ground, and I think Breece Hall, disappointing as he was on Monday night against the Chargers, I thought he should have I bet everybody was thinking Breece Hall against that Chargers D should be a field day. He didn't get enough carries to make it worthwhile, but he still had like a 5-yard average in that game.
Yeah.
So
Dave actually sent me a funny tweet on Twitter. It's a I don't know if it was a GIF or if it was just a picture of Arthur Smith like running down the sidelines going like this, calling timeout, and the caption reads like something like Arthur Smith running down the sideline to call timeout so he can get Bijan Robinson off the field so he doesn't have to use him in the red zone.
Zing! That's a good one right there, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a Survivor question. BTC wants to know what to do in Survivor today.
It's worth noting too, Michael, that I actually know BTC. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
And we're in the same Survivor league. He's out. I'm one of the last two in, and I'm going to give a little bit of a heads up here. I actually have the Bengals today as my Survivor pick against the Texans at home. So
okay,
I'm going Bengals here. I can't not trust the Falcons. I don't care. If I'm playing Survivor and I make it all the way to the end, the Falcons are the last fucking team that I'm taking because I can never trust others.
That's putting it mildly.
You got brass balls if you're going to play the Falcons, BTC. I'll give it to you for sure because I'd be sweating that out the whole time. I really think Arizona can flat out win that game.
Agreed.
But Atlanta might win the game. And the spread's so tight. I think it was 1.5 last I saw. So it's not like you're even getting much of an advantage with either team. So you might as well just take the team you think is going to win. If you think Atlanta's going to win, go ahead and sweat that one out in the desert. I mean, it's in the desert. It's natural that you would sweat it out, but I don't want to do that. Not me.
Yeah. Bengals for both of us.
Yeah. Hey, Brian's here. Morning, Brian.
Brian Andreas says, do you think that A.J. Dillon is droppable with Aaron Jones getting that full game of work last week? It depends on who, Brian. Aaron Jones is going to be battling a hamstring injury all year long. I've been on record as saying it here multiple times on this podcast. I hate A.J. Dillon. I don't know what the Packers see in him.
Yeah, you made that very clear.
He's fat. He's slow. He's a plotter. He's never going to be the guy there. He's a short yardage back. He may have a red zone carry maybe inside the 5-yard line or something like that today. But and it's also worth noting they signed James Robinson on the practice squad a couple weeks back. I don't know if he's still there or not, but I don't think
James Robinson.
Yeah, I was a huge James Robinson fan. BTC will tell you that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, Aaron Jones, I think, still is going to be the guy. They're going to feed him, but it depends on who you're dropping A.J. Dillon for. Brian, Michael, what are you doing there with A.J. Dillon? Are you dropping him or are you holding?
I don't want to drop Dillon just yet. I think Jones, the Packers season's going off the rails. It might be done, and they might play Dillon Moore and Jones. Dillon Moore. That sounds like a play. Wait, Dillon Moore of the Seattle Mariners. There. No.
Bits and juicy.
Very funny. How about that?
Zing.
Yes. Don't drop Dillon just yet. I think Jones could go to the wayside here if this team goes like, we're done anyways. And Jones's hammy's been a problem. They just put him off to the side, put him out to pasture. I wouldn't drop him yet. I wouldn't.
There you go.
Because, by the way, I looked at the number last week. Aaron Jones had almost the exact same stat line running-wise that Dillon had a couple weeks ago. 20 carries, 73 yards. Against the Raiders a couple weeks ago, Dillon had like 20 carries for 73 yards. I'm not even kidding. They're almost exactly the same. So maybe that offensive line sucks.
It does. And I think they're missing a couple guys. There's a lot of guys that were questionable, actually, if I'm not mistaken, going into today.
Yeah. Bakhtiari's been out. That was a
wow,
loss.
dude.
Yeah. He also
wants
wants
a fun one.
Tank Dell or Christian Watson PPR. For me, it's Tank Dell, and it's not close. I can't start Christian Watson. I can't.
How much longer can I chase Christian Watson this season for that elusive big game? I mean, I might. It reminds me of Elijah Moore last year. I just kept waiting all season for him to have a big game, and it never happened. It never happened. So it's possible Jordan Love will not get Chris Watson the ball, and it'll never happen this year. Yeah. But I love Watson. I'm playing Watson today a couple leagues. So I'm stupid. So.
Yeah, I think it's Tank Dell for both of us there, Brian. He says, thank you, guys. No problem, man. Always happy to help. Make sure you check us out on
Brian.
Tuesdays as well. Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Make sure you check us out on our Tuesday show. BTC says, Porter Jr. is the truth in Pitt.
Oh, yeah. Joey Porter Jr. That's right. Mm-hmm. Making his father proud. That's fun.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Good job.
Keep those live questions coming, or those start say questions coming, guys, in the live chat. We're live here on the Flop Podcast. From Dave
Utah. Give me 2.
He wants to know Trenton Irwin, we talked about earlier. I like him today. Wandale or Josh Reynolds are my best free agent options. I feel like a 30% chase is still a better option. I'd be dropping some backup running back like Chandler or something. Ugh. I mean, I would definitely have a I do like Ty Chandler, by the way. I think he's a sleeper that you can stash on your bench as a handcuff for Alexander Madison. Man, it's tough here, dude. If Chase doesn't play, I think you need to. I mean, obviously, you need to have a backup plan. Of those three that you just mentioned, I like Irwin or Josh Reynolds probably the most. I can't start anybody versus New York with the third-string quarterback in Dallas. There's just no way I'm starting Wan'Dale Robinson.
Josh Reynolds here is the absolute play. No brainer to me. Lions
There
off
you
the
go.
bye, taking on the Chargers. You got Amon-Ra, you got Reynolds, you got Laporta. Those are the top three targets for the passing offense outside of Gibbs as the fourth. I think Josh Reynolds, it's been a name I keep looking at everywhere over the last 3 days, Mike. I'm like, oh, Josh Reynolds. Yes, of course. That makes all the sense. In fact, I have the triumvirate of Amon-Ra, Reynolds, and Khalif Raymond as my second favorite receiver group this week.
There you go. Lock it in. Josh Reynolds. Yeah, I probably like Josh Reynolds to score a touchdown the most out of these three. I think Trent Irwin is probably going to gain a little bit more of the target share. So give me the guy who's going to has more of a touchdown upside there with Josh Reynolds. But man, I don't know if anybody has any live updates. I mean, I don't know if they're actually even doing pregame warmups yet or not in Cincinnati. But if anybody has any updates on Jamar Chase, feel free to put them in the live chat. I'd be interested to hear. I don't own any shares of all my 6 leagues. I don't even own any shares of Jamar Chase. Michael, I don't know if you do or not.
I don't have a single Jamar Chase anywhere.
Yeah.
I wish I did. Sounds like fun. I've heard good things.
Right. I've heard good things too. I wish I had him. I do own T. Higgins though, which you were quick to let me know of the hammy injury.
Yeah.
a couple days ago. Well, I have another start sit question for you that I think would be.
Let's go.
Christian Kirk today or Chris Godwin? Kirk versus the 49ers at home. Godwin at home versus
Godwin.
Oh, that was quick. Lock it in.
Yeah, I feel very, very clear about that. I think that Tampa-Tennessee game is going to be the opposite. I think a lot of people might assume it would be a slog or like a defensive battle, but it's not going to be that. Do you know Tampa Bay? They're giving up, I think, the most fantasy points to wide receivers this year. I know there was a big game recently. Something happened where they got, it was last week against Stroud. They got blown up for 470 yards.
Yeah,
so that blew up their rating a bit, but they have given up the most points per game to wide receivers, 27 fantasy points a game to wide receivers as a team.
There you go.
And Tennessee is 6th on that list, 22 points per game to wide receivers. There's a lot of wide receiver talent on both sides of the ball. So it really comes down to, can Baker Mayfield and Mr. Will Levis, who I like, can they both get the ball moving down the field? Because I think the running games are out in both sides. Like, forget Derrick Henry. Rachaad White as a pass receiver is great. I'm definitely starting Rachaad White because he's catching a lot of balls out of the backfield. That'll be fun. But I think this is a passing opportunity. I'm taking the over for sure. I think the over is, it's kind of a lock for me. The over last I saw was 38.5 for Tennessee's Tampa Bay, and I think that's a lock. I really do.
There you go. So Michael just made his lock known. I've made my lock known. I like the Jags and the 3 points. Michael's taking the over in this game as well, and the Tampa Bay and the Titans game. So make sure you guys, if you're betting people, you get in there. BTC agrees with you, Michael. He says over City in Tampa.
Yay! Hey, J-Bird, good morning, buddy. Good to see you.
Jason wants to know in a standard league, Madison or Connor? Madison at home versus, I think they're at home, if I'm not mistaken.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Are the Vikings, what does he do?
Are the Vikings at home or are they in New Orleans? I can't remember.
They're home, baby.
There you go. So Madison or Connor, who are you going with in standard league? So non-PPR.
I got to go Connor, standard rushing touchdown.
I'm going with Connor as well.
The Vikings probably need the best day they've had this season from Madison to win this game just to offset it. But as I said earlier in the show, Jay Bird, that Saints defense, they stop the run, but they can be exploited in the passing situations. God, I'll go Connor. It's tight though, man.
I'm going Connor. Yeah.
Oh, good luck today, Jay Bird.
There you go. Dave, your buddy Dave says Rap is saying that Chase is 50-50 at best. Also, Travis Kelce was at the Taylor Swift concert in Argentina. I now know, and so do you. That's how I feel every time I have to hear about Travis Kelce and or Taylor Swift. No one gives a shit. I don't care about either one of them, man.
Sums it up perfectly. Thank you, Gilbert. Rest in power.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so Chase, he might even be limited. It's a back injury. I said this last week. Oh, back injuries could be tough. He's a talented guy. And they got to win this game with Joe Mixon. I'm telling you, it's got to be the Joe Mixon show. And I couldn't believe it. I was in the airport last Sunday night waiting to go home on the red eye back to Michigan from Arizona. And I was watching the Buffalo-Cincinnati game. And I had nothing to do but watch that game in the airport. So I had a lot of bets going. And the one bet I didn't have was that Irv Smith, of all people, would score the first touchdown in that game. You got great odds on that, by the way. And it did happen. I don't think Irv Smith, I am not kidding, I don't think he's ever scored a touchdown in his NFL career. I'm not even kidding.
No. Whatever, motherfucker!
No, I'm serious. This guy he's never healthy, and then when he does play, he doesn't do anything. I'm going to look it up right now just to verify this, but I couldn't believe that Irv Smith finally got involved in the game. And then in that game against the Bills, Joe Burrow threw it to Drew Sample and Irv Smith. He was throwing all these tight ends that you never heard of all of a sudden. It was weird. And maybe we're going to see more of that again. I mean, I think Irv Smith might be a guy that you really want to play today, and I'm pretty certain he's probably a free agent on most, if not all, fantasy waiver wires.
I'm pretty sure he scored a couple touchdowns when he was his time in Minnesota, right? Like,
you would think so. I know that's what you would think. So,
yeah,
I'm just saying,
because I think he was a popular waiver wire ad a couple years ago. I think people were rushing to pick him up because I think a bunch of people were hurt. And this is before they had Hawk. So
here we go. Career touchdowns. Oh wow. You're right. He scored 5 touchdowns in 2020. Okay.
Yeah. But maybe his first was Cincinnati. Look that one up. Was that his first touchdown in Cincinnati?
Yeah, it was definitely his first this year because he just came to Cincinnati. But he scored. Gotcha. I was way off. Irv Smith had just been hurt all the time, but he scored 9 touchdowns in 3 years with Minnesota. So that's more than one for damn sure.
That's putting it mildly.
Sorry, Irv. I was wrong. I'll take it back. It just felt that way is all.
Yeah. Brian says, I'll listen to Taylor Swift for the rest of the year if it distracts Kelsey and the Chiefs for the rest of the year.
Hey, whatever it takes, right? Get it done. Exactly. I'm all for it.
Maybe Taylor Swift really doesn't like him, and she's like, maybe she's a Broncos fan or some shit like that, and she's really trying to just distract.
God, here we go. There's a whole YouTube world, a whole YouTube universe of conspiracy theory, TikTok theories and conspiracies related to that. She's really a secret Chiefs fan or a Phillies fan. She's a Philly fan at heart, and she's trying to totally scumbag the Chiefs. Get the hell out of here. Conspiracy theories. Oh, got a missed field goal by the Colts. Hey, wow, BTC hates kickers. He's not alone. I want to know, though, Mike, give me your take on the Ravens, Cleveland -6. Is it crazy to take the Browns -6, +6?
No, I don't think that's crazy at all. Again, it's a tight game, and I'm actually surprised the number's that high, to be 100% honest. I know the Ravens have been playing well recently. They've been blowing teams out. They blew out the Seahawks. They blew out the Lions. These games are always played tight, and it really depends on the health of Deshaun Watson, to be 100% honest. So I'm gonna be completely frank here, and I know this is not an entertaining thing to say, but I'm not touching this game with a 40-foot pole. If you had to put me out one side or the other, I'm taking the Browns in the 6 points. I do think I think it's gonna be a close game today.
Okay. All right. Well, I've been tearing myself apart on this one. It seems like, you can't trust Deshaun Watson. I don't want to trust Deshaun Watson. And the problem is, this is a divisional game. In the last game, he didn't play. He got scratched right before the game, and then DTR played. It was just 28-3. The Ravens won, but it was not representative or indicative of what this game typically should be. But the same thing is in my brain, because in the Lions game against the Ravens and the Seattle game against the Ravens, I swear, it was the same point spread of 6. So it's like they're begging us to take the Browns because they know that they'll crush them. But I'm just telling you, the Ravens got to slow down. It's getting a little too inflated over there. And everyone says Lamar for MVP, but everybody else is scoring touchdowns and doing stuff. I mean, he's running the offense, but he's kind of like a game manager lately. He's not putting up. I mean, outside of that Lions game, he had 357 yards. He was legendary that week. Outside of that, he's just been kind of chilling.
Gus Edwards has been the MVP over the last couple of weeks. The dude's got 5 touchdowns in 2 games. So, I wouldn't vote for Lamar for MVP. Like you said, he's been a game manager. I do like Todd Monken, though. I think he's done a really good job with this offense thus far. So
100%. There's no doubt about that. I just think this seems like this should be a battle, because this is a divisional game. This is a crucial divisional game too, and the Browns got to put everything on the line here. The Bengals are ascending, and the Pittsburgh's hanging around, but we all know that's bullshit. So it's really between the Bengals, the Browns, and the Ravens for that division, and this is a very important game. And if it's a blowout, it's going to stun me. I'm sitting here right now, 10:53 a.m. on a Sunday morning on November 12th, Veterans Day weekend. If the Ravens blow out the Browns, I will be flabbergasted.
BTC says Ravens smash spot here. Browns offense is mud. They are a running football team. I will say that. So I think it'll be a heavy dose of Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do anything today. So they may be forced to throw. So may be able to put Deshaun Watson in a position that he probably doesn't want to be in with that shoulder injury. So,
well, no, their only hope is Cleveland's defense has to show up here, and they have to really limit the Baltimore offense. That's what needs to happen here.
That is true. It's a big game. I don't feel good about it as a Ravens fan too. I don't know what it is. It's always something. The Browns always play as tough in Baltimore as well, and really in Cleveland in the dog pound. So,
yippee.
Yeah, I just don't like the 6 points. It scares me. I'm not touching it. But we'll see. I'll flip the reverse to you here. How do you feel about your Bozo Lions today at the LA Chargers, or the San Diego Chargers, as you like to call them?
I don't get it, man. I guess I'm just lost in Yonkers because everyone's on the Lions. They're 3-point road favorites. I know there's no such thing as a home advantage for the Chargers at all because they don't have a home. I can't believe this is the way of the future now for the NFL. Like, it's all going to go away. Home field advantage won't mean anything. Teams will be playing in cities where nobody cares about them. This is the future of the NFL. You have two of them in LA, but nobody cares about the Rams and the Chargers, right? It's weird. It's just going to get more weird if this keeps happening. We allow it to happen. I'm on the Chargers. I'm taking the +3. Maybe I'm a sucker here, but I feel like the Chargers are playing better. But the Lions, everyone tells me they're a really good football team, and their record shows that. But I just can't. They've gone on the road and beat teams easily. Beat the Bucs on the road handily, but they got smoked by the Ravens. So what's the story here for real? This is a rubber match in a way to see what Detroit is on the road. Off a bye, fresh too. They're ready to go. That is interesting, but this seems like a field goal game either way. I don't think the Chargers are just going to lie down.
Yeah, I think this is actually a pivotal matchup for the Lions, not in terms of record or standings or anything, because I do think they win that division handedly. But at the same time, too, like you just mentioned, they got blown up by the Ravens, right? They're coming off a bye week. Who are the Lions really? All right, are they pretenders or are they contenders? And I think today will prove that if they can somehow walk into LA and beat them, regardless of the point spread. I do like the Lions to win this game.
Okay.
You know, we'll see. I don't know about the points, but I do like the Lions to win. I just think they're better. I think they're better defensively than the Chargers. So,
but not by much though. That's the other thing. I told you this before. This Lions defense is getting a lot of hype, and on the back end, they still got major problems, and they also can't generate an incredible pass rush. In fact, San Diego's pass rush is better than the Lions' pass rush.
Ooh.
It is. Bosa versus Hutchinson. Bosa's better than Hutchinson. There's more guys. They got Khalil Mack. They got other guys that can rush the passer better. So
that's true.
The problem is the offensive line for Detroit is so damn good too. So it does kind of limit the pass rush for certain teams. That O-line in Detroit's legit. That's it's their secret. It's the secret to everything. It makes Goff better than he should be. It makes him look like he's a Pro Bowler and a legend in his own time. But when that doesn't work out, like against the Ravens, he looks average.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, I think this. I actually think the opposite. I think this is going to be a shootout today. I think both of them are going to be able to score some points today. Justin Herbert has been playing better recently. I think Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, Dave Montgomery's back today. So I think there's going to be plenty of points scored here. So we'll see. But
I'm on the over.
I'm on the over, and I'm pulling for the Lions for sure in this game. But we'll see.
48.5 too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hammering that. George
That's a big
played.
Number.
Yeah, exactly. Is that the highest scoring game on the docket today?
Just might be a hair over Houston, Cincinnati. At least last number I had 47.5 on Houston. I'm way on the under on that 47.5 for Houston, Cincinnati. I really am. That number might have gone down though because of these injuries that are coming in. I lock in earlier in the week and I need to check in on the book, which I'll be staring at shortly. This show needs to end because I need to stare at the sportsbook for the next 2 hours on DraftKings app and of course my DFS lineups, which I will constantly tinker with until I ruin them.
Well, There you go. Lock that in. Michael, you know how this show works, man. As soon as we're getting ready to go off the air, all the questions come in. George Play 01, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. And we appreciate the question. He wants to know, hey guys, Deontay Jackson Smith and Jigba or Keaton Mitchell for the flex in a non-PPR. For me, it's Deontay Johnson. It's not particularly close here either. I do like JSN today against the Commanders. You start your receivers there, but I think he's third in that pecking order behind Lockett and DK Metcalf. So Keaton Mitchell, we've already made known here as well. Third in the pecking order here. I know a lot of people are going to be chasing him after that big game he had last week, but still think he's behind Justice Hill and Gus Edwards in a very, very close game today versus the Browns. So give me Deontay Johnson. Lock that in.
I'm taking JSN just for the hell of it because Deontay has to score here for that to be viable in non-PPR pretty much, unless you think he'll rack up a bunch of yards against the Packers. The Packers actually aren't bad against the pass. It's the run they get torched on. And the problem is the worst part of the Steelers offense is the running game. So we'll see how that comes to pass. I'm going with JSN. I am. I'm going to go with Jackson Smith to sneak in a touchdown today. Like I said, Geno Smith, I think, is my favorite quarterback play this week. Sounds crazy to say that out loud, but I really believe it. So I'm locked in.
Lock it in, baby.
Believe it.
He also wants to know Cade Otton or David Njoku today.
I do have David Njoku. What is the number at? Plus 1,900 to be the first touchdown scorer today in the Cleveland-Baltimore game. It's a nice little return. Last week I got Cole Kmet. The week before that, I got Jake Ferguson. I hit with these tight ends on these first touchdown scorers lately. Now, I'm not saying this is going to hit for sure, but he's definitely in my top 3 first touchdown scorers for that game. I got Njoku at 19-1. I also, I got OBJ at plus 1,800. And the Baltimore defense plus 2,200 to score a first touchdown. So
I like David Njoku here too. Lock that in. Palazzo Podcast, both Michael and I, 2 of us going with David Njoku here. So
I did say that was going to be a big game, though, with the Titans passing game with the Titans and the Bucs. So
yeah,
that could be. Cade Otton had 2 touchdown game. He looks like a legend now, and everyone's chasing that. It's always difficult to chase a guy who scores 2 touchdowns kind of out of nowhere, like Cade Otton did. I'm a little wary. Yeah, I'm wary of that. Wary, not weary.
I'm with you on that 100%. That's why I chose David Njoku. And I think also too, he's the second best receiver in this passing game for Deshaun Watson. And with his shoulder, they'll find ways to get him the ball. So Amari Cooper's obviously number 1 for me, but then Njoku would be number 2. So we both like him there, George. Good luck today. Hopefully that works out for you. BTC wants to know real quick, Taylor Heineke or Baker touchdown maker against the Titans?
Oh, Baker.
Yeah, I'm going Baker as well.
Oh, hey, it's our buddy Sam Wershing.
Oh, Sam Wershing. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Sam. Good morning, Sam, on the West Coast. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know Cade Otton was a Husky. Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Nice job on beating Utah. I told you you'd beat Utah. Didn't cover, though, but who cares?
That was a good game.
Well, I want to go back to this real quick. This one. Quentin Johnston breakout game. I didn't say this on Tuesday, and I was really annoyed by it. In fact, I posted a video after the fact on our YouTube channel, which you guys subscribe to and like, and always be here for us, because we're going to be there for you, that Jalen Guyton was back. Jalen Guyton had a bad injury on his knee last year, but he finally came back on Monday night, and he played 54% of the snaps against the Jets on Monday night. So, to me, Guyton and Palmer were both right there in the mix in terms of opportunities. But when Guyton blew out his knee last year, Palmer got more of the opportunity. And now Palmer's out with a knee injury. Guyton's back. I really, really love Jalen Guyton today to be involved against this Detroit pass offense more than Quentin Johnston, in my opinion. I'm going to say that Johnston gets outscored by Guyton today.
There you go. I actually agree with Dave. I think this is a good Quentin Johnston spot for him today, even though I do agree with your Guyton take as well. I think they'll get him involved. I'm going to go back to King Shakur 21. What's up, man? Thanks for joining us, and I appreciate the question. He wants to know, should I play Dobbs or Murray this week? Dobbs versus Saints, Murray versus the Falcons.
Dobbs had a great run last week. That was very exciting. Again, Minnesota's going to have to win through the air, so if Dobbs can do it again. No JJ yet. No Jefferson still. That'll be interesting to see. I like Brandon Powell in that game. He's a receiver who gets less run than some of the other guys. Jordan Addison's the main man there for Minnesota. But I like Brandon Powell today, too. In fact, I think I liked him plus 2,200 be the first touchdown scorer in that game against the Saints. But I think I'm going to go Kyler Murray by a hair here, and I might be wrong. I might be a fool. But I think this is a lot closer than people might realize it is.
It is. I'm definitely with you on that. It's a lot closer. And it's definitely a tough question here, King Shakur. But I'm going to go with Michael here. I'm going to go Kyler Murray by a hair, but it's very, very close for me. Good luck. Like I said, I don't think you can go wrong either way. I think both these guys have safe floors, but I think Murray has the higher ceiling. So that's part of the reason why I'm going against Murray here. We've already mentioned the show earlier today, too. The Falcons' defense and secondary is doo-doo. It's mud. We hate, well, at least I won't speak for Michael. I hate the Falcons. So anytime something goes against with Arthur Smith, give me the other team. So
that's fair. I'll give you that. With that, I gotta go. We'd give you a good hour here, like we always try to do. It was a fun show. Hopefully, it was
very fun,
productive, and useful and informative. He's Mike Virginia. Follow him on Twitter at _Mike VA. Don't forget, he's got this giveaway going on. Remind the people one more time.
Yeah, go check us out. Go check me out on my Twitter handle at _Mike Virginia. Look at the pinned tweet. If you want to win an NFL jersey, if you're choosing, all you have to do is follow Michael Govier, follow Palazzo Podcast, follow me, like and repost the tweet. And Bijan Robinson and Aaron Jones both have to score today, anytime touchdowns. If that happens, you could be possibly looking at a NFL jersey of your choosing, which we'll announce on Tuesday's show. So make sure you guys check that out.
Utah. Give me 2.
Yeah, that could really happen today. Jones and Bijan could score today. They got defenses they're going up against that make it possible. So remember, subscribe here, get the notification thing going, all that crap. Come on, be part of the show. Let's connect. We only got 7 more weeks of regular season football, so let's cherish every single one of these. We'll be back Tuesday at 7 p.m. like we always are live. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, talking waiver wire trades, anything else with what the hell happened today, which will be like, oh, I can't believe that happened today. I can't believe I have this last thing before we go. I have this section in the weekly primer that I put on our Patreon for just $3. You can get access to it. Palazzo Podcast on Patreon, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
And I have a category called Nobody Expects. It just says that. Nobody expects. So here's what I put in the Nobody Expects today. Green Bay to win at Pittsburgh. Offense in the Tennessee-Tampa Bay game, period. Washington to beat Seattle on the road. Giants to even compete at Dallas. Cleveland to score a lot of points. Nobody expects that.
No.
And Houston to beat Cincinnati outright. I don't think anybody expects that, even if they think they'll battle. So I like to put those in there because shit happens every week, right? That we're like, oh, look, I can't believe that happened. So we'll see how many of that stuff actually came to pass.
I'm going to put this in
all of us.
Add one there for me on your list there. Bijan Robinson to score 2 touchdowns and lead the Falcons backfield in touches.
I love it. Nobody expects that.
Let's revisit that list on Tuesday's show, Michael. I want to see how many of those actually hit and see what those look like. But you know what's funny with this crazy, crazy world we live in? What if a lot of those things happened? Or all of them happened? Would you be surprised?
I know, I wouldn't be surprised at all. That's why I read it down, because every week stuff happens that we don't think will happen because a lot of us get caught up in the group think. But it's the NFL. It's a very parody-driven league, so all these things that don't seem possible are possible and do happen. We'll see what happens, but I'll look forward to looking at that list as well.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 E's.
Utah. Give me 2.
We're going to go stare at our lineup, still kick off. Everybody have a great week. If you want to be in the Discord, that's totally free. It's in the description. Jump in there, and you can ask questions about the 4 o'clock games and so on. Anything else that happened today, while it's happening in real time, you can join along and talk with us in the NFL In-Game Moments channel. There's so much that the Palazzo Podcast offers for you. See ya!
Fucking Roethlisberger, the quarterback, was all fucking hug it, chug it, football.